A cold, wet, miserable day at Warwick Farm in Sydney for this international meeting. And you see here 27 cars on the grid before the start of the production touring car race, which will be over 10 laps of the 2¼ mile circuit, a total distance of 22½ miles. On the inside of the grid, number 1, the Ford Mustang, to be driven by Leo Geoghan, qualified with a time of 1 minute 42.4 seconds, or an average speed of 79.1 miles an hour. In the centre of the front line, Norm Beechey's Holden Monaro, Beechey of Victoria, and on the outside of the front line, the Lotus Ford Cortina, to be driven by Jim McKeown. On the second line of the grid, on the inside, we have the Morris Cooper S, car number 12, which is to be driven by Peter Manton, and then on the outside, car number 8 that you see, the Morris Cooper S, to be driven by Brian Foley. Less than a minute to go, and we'll go down and have a look at the third line of the grid now. On the outside, car number 10, the Morris Cooper S, to be driven by Jim Smith. In the centre of the third line, car number 16, the Morris Cooper S, to be driven by Darryl King. And on the inside of the third line, car number 6, the Lotus Ford Cortina, to be driven by Bob Inglis. Now to take us off for the start with very few seconds remaining, here's Bill Bryce.
Yes, well, these grid positions have been allotted up because of the practice sessions in the dry, and I think we're going to see this minis of Manton and Foley come through very quick. There's Beechey away in the Monaro, car number 4, and he's really gone for it. But look, there's the Mini Coopers and McKeown. And Ian Geoghan could have quite a bit of trouble here with the big Mustang and trying to keep it on the road in these very, very wet and torrid conditions.
That Ford Mustang, Bill, is the car that holds the lap record for production touring cars here at Warwick Farm, set by Ian Geoghan, 1 minute 40.7 seconds.
And here's already a change as Jim McKeown tried to come down, but Beechey's closing the door in the Monaro. It's Beechey out in front, but here's McKeown tucking in behind him, and there's Foley right in behind them in the little Mini, car number 8. It's Beechey into Creek for the first time, McKeown on the outside. That's quite a game move to make there. Then Geoghan, Foley, Manton. Now it could be a real David and Goliath battle, but here's McKeown. He's on a bad line for this, and he's taken it. No, not quite. Oh, that was very brave indeed, and it was very lucky that Beechey went off the power to let him get through. But it's McKeown now. The rest are starting to after him, but he's away for the doctor at this stage as they come across the crossing. He's into the dirt. He's really trying hard. And there's Foley in the Mini, right in behind Geoghan in the big white Mustang. Car number 1 is Ed Geoghan, 4 is Beechey, as they streak down towards the causeway. Here's Geoghan going up, but here's McKeown, and if he stays on the road, he'll be very hard to beat. That was he's quite a wild man. You can see him working away inside the car, coming down, getting set up for Polo Corner. Beechey, Geoghan in second and third place. 4 and 1. And you can see, look at the big Mustang moving badly across as he's on the acceleration. You can see the nose lifting, and it must be quite a thing to drive. McKeown.
After the first lap, a break of some 6 seconds there between those two cars.
And there's Beechey wide, and Geoghan slips inside him, and away he goes in second place. And there's Foley tucked in behind Beechey, Manton, and the rest of the field streaming through. And streaming is really the word, as the rain is really down.
That shot will show you the amount of rain falling on the Warwick Farm track and making conditions quite hazardous for the drivers. Certainly wonderful skill that's keeping them in the race. Coming up now, the Hume straight towards Creek Corner, where they'll take the turn around to the left, and then they'll go through the S's. Car number 1, the Ford Mustang, driven by Leo Geoghan, in second place, following Jim McKeown in the Lotus Ford Cortina. Ian Geoghan driving, not Leo Geoghan. Leo qualified in the car, but Ian Geoghan at the wheel of the Ford Mustang.
And quite a handful it is indeed. As you can see, coming on the crossing, it's diving off the side of the road. but as he's commonly called, Pete Geoghan there, out in with he's in second place, and he's after, there's the leader, Jim McKeown from Victoria in the Lotus Cortina. And he's nearly lost it. I think he has. No, he hang on to it there. You can see the car aquaplane straight across the road. The puddles, he was wide out, nearly lost it, but good control. He recovered well, got out of the corner, which has trapped a couple today already. And he's now coming round through past the polo corner and coming into the main, or into the pit straight. Geoghan behind him, not too far away. And you can see as he puts the power on the road.
A margin of 5.5 seconds between first and second.
2 laps gone. And already the minis are starting to make their presence felt because they're in second and third place. Brian Foley is in third place. We've lost Beechey. Seems to have gone off the circuit somewhere, or he's not in sight at all, as this is the second car at the stage, the Mustang of Geoghan's. Looking right into the car itself, you can see the face mask worn even by the saloon car drivers. Notice the difference in the camber and the wheels on the front wheels there. They're quite excessive, but it's something. It's a real bit of chassis tuning, this. And Beechey there he is. We've lost him. We lost him before. Car number 4. He seems to have clipped up into the fence by the looks of things. And it looks a little ragged, and they're pulling bits of fence away. Norm out of the car. He's okay, and there's Brian Foley. Yes, he's in third place, car number 8, and no doubt about it that this rain will nullify the chances of the bigger cars, but McKeown seems to have it all worked out, and he's a long way out in front at the stage. There's Brian Foley, a well-known mini exponent, and he's still getting that wheel off the ground.
Now as they come round to complete the third lap, we'll give you a difference in time between Jim McKeown in car the Lotus Cortina, and about 5.5 seconds again. So Geoghan did not lose anything on that lap.
And he came round past the pits flashing his lights. Whether or not this is a predetermined signal with his pit crew, we don't really know, but he was giving them quite a bit of flashing as he came past the pits.
Into the 4th lap now, and the leaders, Jim McKeown in car number 7, followed by the Mustang driven by Leo Geoghan. Behind Geoghan, car number 8, Brian Foley in the Morris Cooper S, and he's followed a little bit further back by another Morris Cooper S, Peter Manton.
Well, Geoghan seems to have the flasher unit already wired up because it's flashing on and off, possibly to tell the back markers that he's coming through. But there's one in front of him, and that's Jim McKeown. McKeown in the Lotus Cortina, power weight ratio a little better suited for this very, very wet place. You look at Geoghan working away there inside the car. He's all arms and legs, no doubt, as he swings it round and keeping it on the circuit.
Back to McKeown, who's still holding the lead, quite considerable one, about 5 or 6 seconds over Geoghan.
And he's lapping an identical car of Bob Inglis. McKeown, yes, he's gone past them. 2 Lotus Cortinas. Number 7 is the car to watch. That's McKeown, the leader at present. They're coming on to their 4th lap to complete 4 laps. He's done 3.
And in the first 2 laps, the margin has been about 5.5 seconds between McKeown and Geoghan. As they come up into the pit straight again, we'll give you another margin. Here comes McKeown. And Geoghan on the outside, overtaking another car. And Geoghan has made up ground, has gained about 0.6 of a second on that lap, because McKeown leads by just under 4.5 seconds. Geoghan normally a very hard man to beat in these production touring car races. but today with the track as wet and as slippery as it is, he can't make full use of his power, and this gives the smaller cars, especially the Morris and Austin Cooper S's, the chance to gain some ground.
McKeown in the Lotus Cortina showing the way, and here's Geoghan closing up a little now. The lights blinking on and off on the big Mustang like neon signs, but warning the slower cars that he wants to get through. And he's not that far away from McKeown. There's McKeown, car 7. Whoa, and he's really got it on the limit, and this is where he went past Beechey on the first lap to take the lead. There's the Mustang. And on the mini battle, Brian Foley seems to have the better of his Victorian counterpart, Peter Manton, because Foley's in 3rd place, Manton in 4th place.
McKeown has done well to establish that early lead in the first 3 laps, and it's up to Geoghan now in the Mustang to see with 5 laps remaining if he can get close to McKeown and overtake him.
Well, there's a difference in the 2 cars. The Lotus Cortina getting the power on the road a lot more, though it's a lot tweakier around through the top corner. And here's the big Mustang. You can see it moving considerably as Pete Geoghan down onto the brakes now, and it's virtually on tiptoes, you might say, going through.
Geoghan picked up another 0.2 of a second on the 5th lap, and he's now just over 4 seconds behind McKeown. Both cars in the picture there as McKeown swings around and up into Hume Straight. Followed by Geoghan. You can see Geoghan's lights standing out in all the heavy rain that's falling here at Warwick Farm. McKeown leading Leo Geoghan as they go round Creek Corner. Very little in it. I wouldn't be surprised if Geoghan is caught up to within 4 seconds of McKeown on the 5th lap.
Well, the big question is, of course, how's he going to get past? This is where it must come. And I'm sure that Ian Geoghan will try extremely hard. Here's McKeown right on the limit with the car. But he seems to be quite a bit quicker up through the S's, where they are now, than the big Mustang. He gets across onto the crossing, across the causeway there, or leading up to the causeway, separating the 2 lakes of water at Warwick Farm. It would be debatable to say just where the most water was today. I think it must be a lot on the circuit because it's very, very wet indeed. There's McKeown keeping out of the big puddle that was over there. He went through that before and shot straight across the road, aquaplaned across, but he's kept it on the island. 2nd car, Ian Geoghan in the Mustang.
Coming up now to complete the 6th lap. And McKeown streaming around the outside of the Holden. And yes, Geoghan has come within 4 seconds. He's picked up another 0.4 of a second, and now McKeown leads Geoghan by only 3.6 seconds. 3.6 seconds, 4 laps to go. But can Geoghan do it?
Here's Geoghan closing up the gap a little more at this point. They're nearly nose to tail as they come into Creek.
Geoghan here will make
and
a desperate
Geoghan
bid for
going
this
out
break.
wide to get a good line on the corner if need be, so that he can cut in on the inside, but he doesn't quite do it. McKeown getting that extra few yards out of the corner. Getting a nicer run out of there, putting the power on the road a little easier with the Cortina. Nowhere near the same amount. He's probably around about, say, 150 brake horse to about, I should think, well in excess of 300 on the Mustang. Well, we're just behind the trees here. We've had an indiscretion or a moment by somebody. He's just about third man at the stage, Jay Smith, who's made a little bit of a blue there, and whether or not his third place will be in doubt, we're not quite sure. But here's the gap between the leader and the second car. The checkered flag is out. Jim McKeown in the Lotus Cortina has to get through this corner safely to take the checkered flag and win this 10-lap race. And there he goes with the big Mustang in second place behind him.
Jim McKeown, the winner. McKeown, car number 7, driving a Lotus Ford Cortina, won by 1.5 seconds from Leo Geoghan in car number 1, the Ford Mustang, and the time for the race, 22.5 miles, the time 17 minutes 44 seconds. And they're the official placings, 7, 1 and 8.
No, I think the third placing was changing just on the official board there. Third is 24. And 24 is one we haven't seen very much of, was Jay Humphrey, who got through, obviously. And there's the crowd down on Hume giving them a grand hand indeed, as Ian Geoghan and Jim McKeown come through. I think it's one of Ian Geoghan's best drives in keeping the car on the road. McKeown definitely had the better of the deal with the lighter and not so powerful a Cortina Lotus, but Ian Geoghan, no doubt, driving extremely well. I thought possibly, Alan, the Minis might have got in closer to them.
The official placings again, Jim McKeown, Lotus Ford Cortina, second, Leo Geoghan, Ford Mustang, and third.